Chapter 1: The Mysterious Disappearance. Once upon a time, in a quiet town, there lived a boy named Jack and his little sister Emma. Jack and Emma loved to play video games, and their favorite was Poppy Playtime, a game filled with fun puzzles and friendly toys. They would spend hours together, solving puzzles and uncovering secrets in the mysterious toy factory. One fateful night, as they were playing in their cozy living room, a bright light flashed from the screen, and suddenly, Emma vanished. Jack was left staring at the empty space where Emma had been. He quickly realized that Emma had somehow been sucked into the game. Panic set in, but Jack didn't hesitate for long. He knew he had to save his sister. Without a moment's hesitation, Jack grabbed his backpack, filled it with snacks, a flashlight, and his trusty pocket knife, and jumped towards the screen. He felt a strange sensation as he was pulled into the game world. When he opened his eyes, he found himself in the eerie toy factory from Poppy Playtime. "Emma!" Jack called out, his voice echoing through the empty halls. The factory was both familiar and alien, filled with towering shelves of toys and machines covered in a thick layer of dust. He wandered through the factory, past rows of old toys and dusty shelves, until he heard a familiar voice. "Jack, help!" Emma's voice came from somewhere deep in the factory. Jack ran towards the sound, his heart pounding with hope and fear. He found Emma trapped inside a giant toy box. He tried to open it, but it was locked tight. "Don't worry, Emma. I'll find a way to get you out," he promised. Chapter 2: Encountering Mommy Longlegs. Just as he was about to leave to find the key, a sinister voice echoed through the factory. Well, what do we have here? It was Mommy Longlegs, the spooky spider-like toy from the game. Jack's heart pounded in his chest as Mommy Longlegs emerged from the shadows, her long, stretchy legs moving silently across the floor. "You can't save your sister," she hissed. "You'll have to play my game first." Without warning, Mommy Longlegs lunged at Jack, but he was quick and dodged her grasp. He remembered that in the game, he had to solve puzzles to advance, so he sprinted down a hallway, searching for clues and keys. The factory was a labyrinth of corridors and rooms, each filled with remnants of joy and forgotten dreams. Jack found himself in a room filled with colorful blocks and old machines. He spotted a shiny key hanging from a hook high up on the wall. Using his quick thinking, he stacked the blocks to create a makeshift ladder and grabbed the key. "Got it," he whispered to himself, but he could hear the skittering sound of Mommy Longlegs getting closer. He ran back to the toy box where Emma was trapped. As he unlocked the box, Mommy Longlegs appeared again, her eyes glowing with anger. "You can't escape that easily," she screeched. Chapter 3: The First Puzzle. Jack grabbed Emma's hand, and they ran as fast as they could, weaving through the maze-like factory. They reached a large room with a conveyor belt that led to the exit. Jack had an idea. "Quick, Emma, jump on the conveyor belt." They hopped onto the belt, and it started moving, carrying them towards the exit. But Mommy Longlegs was right behind them, stretching her legs to catch up. As they neared the end of the conveyor belt, Jack spotted a lever on the wall. "Hold on tight, Emma," he shouted and pulled the lever. The conveyor belt sped up, launching them through the exit door just as it slammed shut behind them, trapping Mommy Longlegs inside. Jack and Emma tumbled out of the game and back into their living room. They were safe and sound, but their hearts were still racing. "Are you okay, Emma?" Jack asked, hugging his sister tightly. Emma nodded, tears of relief in her eyes. "Thank you, Jack, you saved me." From that day on, they decided to stick to safer games. But whenever they looked at the game console, they remembered their adventure and the time Jack saved Emma from the spooky world of Poppy Playtime. Chapter 4: The Deeper Levels of the Factory. As they caught their breath and steadied their hearts, Emma suddenly vanished again, right before Jack's eyes. This time, he knew what he had to do. Jack leaped back into the game, determined to bring his sister home once and for all. When he landed back in the factory, Jack realized that they were in a deeper, darker part of the toy factory. The walls were lined with cracked mirrors, and the floors were covered in old, creaky wooden planks. The atmosphere was thick with an eerie silence, occasionally broken by distant creaks and groans from the old building. "Emma!" Jack called out again, but this time his voice sounded smaller, swallowed up by the darkness around him. He pressed on, determined to find her. He came across a room filled with old arcade machines, their screens flickering with static. One machine caught his eye. It was titled The Maze of Madness. Jack approached it cautiously and saw that the screen displayed a message. Solve the maze to find what. Jack inserted a coin he found on the floor into the machine, and the game began. The screen showed a top-down view of a maze, and Jack had to guide a small character through it using the joystick. The maze was complex, with dead ends and moving walls. Jack's hands were sweaty, but he focused hard, guiding the character through the maze with precision. Finally, he reached the end of the maze, and the screen flashed with the words, "Key unlocked." A compartment at the bottom of the arcade machine opened, revealing a Jack grabbed the key, hoping it would lead him closer to finding Emma. Chapter 5, Trapped in the Dollhouse. Key in hand, Jack continued his journey through the factory. He entered a room that looked like a giant dollhouse. The furniture was oversized, and everything had a creepy, lifelike quality to it. Suddenly, the door slammed shut behind him, and he heard a mechanical whirring sound. "Welcome to my dollhouse, Jack," a voice echoed through the room. It was Mommy Longlegs again. "Let's see how you fare in my little game." Jack looked around and saw various puzzles and challenges set up around the room. He had to solve each one to unlock the door and escape. He approached the first puzzle, which was a jigsaw puzzle with pieces scattered all over the floor. Jack quickly got to work, piecing it together. It was a picture of the toy factory, and once he completed it, a drawer in the dollhouse opened, revealing a piece of a key. Next, Jack had to solve a riddle to unlock a chest. The riddle read, "I speak without a mouth and hear without ears. I have no body, but I come alive with the wind. What am I?" Jack thought for a moment before answering. An echo. The chest clicked open, and inside was another piece of the key. Finally, Jack had to navigate a small maze built into the dollhouse. He used a tiny figure to move through the maze, avoiding traps and dead ends. After several tense minutes, he reached the end and found the last piece of the key. Jack combined the pieces and unlocked the door, just as Mommy Longlegs appeared again. He sprinted out of the dollhouse room, slamming the door behind him. Chapter 6, The Factory's Secret. As Jack continued through the factory, he stumbled upon a hidden room filled with old blueprints and documents. He realized this must be where the factory's secrets were kept. He started looking through the papers, hoping to find something that could help him rescue Emma. One document caught his eye. It was a blueprint for a machine called the Toy Soul Extractor. The document detailed how the machine could trap souls inside. Jack knew he had to find this master control room if he wanted to save Emma. He followed the directions on the blueprint, navigating through the dark and eerie halls of the factory. Finally, he reached a large, heavily guarded door. Jack used the key he found earlier to unlock it, and the door creaked open, revealing a control room filled with monitors and control panels. Jack approached the main console and saw a button labeled Release All. He pressed the button, and the factory came to life with the sound of gears turning and machinery whirring. Jack watched as the screens showed toys and machines powering down, releasing the trapped souls inside them. "Jack, help!" Emma's voice echoed through the control room. Jack turned and saw Emma on one of the monitors, trapped inside a machine. Chapter 7, The Final Showdown. Jack ran towards the room where Emma was trapped, but Mommy Longlegs intercepted him. "You think you can just waltz in here and save your sister?" she hissed. "You're not leaving this place alive." Jack dodged her attacks, using the environment to his advantage. He grabbed a pipe from the ground and swung it at her, but she dodged with her long, stretchy legs. Jack realized he needed to outsmart her rather than fight her head-on. He remembered the blueprints he saw earlier and figured there must be a way to trap Mommy Longlegs using the factory's machinery. He led her through the factory, weaving through rooms and corridors until he reached the toy soul extractor. "Come on, Jack," Mommy Longlegs taunted. "There's no escape." Jack lured her closer to the machine and then, at the last moment, activated it. The machine roared to life, and powerful suction pulled at Mommy Longlegs. She screamed and tried to escape, but the machine's power was too strong. It pulled her into its chamber and trapped her inside. Jack quickly deactivated the machine, ensuring Mommy Longlegs couldn't escape. With the threat neutralized, he rushed to Emma's side and freed her from the machine. Chapter 8: The Escape. With Emma safely by his side, Jack knew they had to find a way out of the factory. They retraced their steps, moving quickly through the halls. The factory seemed even more ominous now, with shadows lurking in every corner. They reached the main entrance, but the door was locked. Jack searched for a way to open it when he noticed a control panel next to the door. He used the knowledge he gained from the blueprints to hack into the system and unlock the door. As the door creaked open, sunlight poured into the factory, illuminating the dark and dreary interior. Jack and Emma stepped outside, feeling the warmth of the sun on their faces. They had escaped the factory and were finally safe. Chapter 9: The Aftermath. Back in the safety of their home, Jack and Emma tried to process everything that had happened. They were grateful to be alive and together, but the memories of the factory haunted them. Their parents were overjoyed to see them safe and sound. They hugged Jack and Emma tightly, grateful that their children were back. Jack and Emma promised never to play such a dangerous game again. But the experience had changed them. They had faced their fears and learned the true meaning of courage and determination. They knew they could overcome anything as long as they stuck together. Chapter 10: A New Beginning. As the days passed, Jack and Emma slowly returned to their normal lives. They spent time with their friends, went to school, and enjoyed the simple pleasures of everyday life. But they never forgot the lessons they had learned in the toy factory. They became closer than ever, supporting each other through thick and thin. They knew that no matter what challenges they faced in the future, they could count on each other for strength and support. And so, Jack and Emma's bond grew stronger, knowing that they could face anything together, even the scariest of games. Epilogue: The Mysterious Game Console. Months after their harrowing adventure, Jack and Emma were cleaning up their room when they stumbled upon the old game console. It was dusty and looked as if it hadn't been touched in a long time. Jack picked it up and looked at Emma. "What should we do with this?" Emma thought for a moment before replying, "Let's keep it as a reminder of our adventure, but let's make sure we never play that game again." Jack nodded in agreement, placing the console back on the shelf. They knew that their adventure in the toy factory was an experience they would never forget, and it had brought them closer together as siblings. As they walked away, they couldn't help but wonder if the game console still held any secrets. But for now, they were content to leave it be, focusing on the bright future ahead of them. And so, Jack and Emma lived happily ever after, knowing that they could conquer any challenge as long as they had each other. The end of their adventure in the toy factory marked the beginning of a new chapter in their lives, filled with hope, courage, and endless possibilities. The end.